Peace and blessings, you guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Dear Black Woman podcast, where we honor, value, and appreciate Black women, where we also hold the truth, hold space for healing, and make room for the voices that have too often gone unheard. Today, we are joined by Mika Dean Newton, one of the powerful contributors to the Dear Black Woman Anthology. Now, in her letter to her younger self, Mika breaks open years of silence to speak the truth that once felt unsafe. She writes with clarity, grace, and a fierce sense of self-worth that came from choosing healing over hiding. Her story is tender, it's direct, and it's deeply human. It reminds us that survival can be silent, but healing has a voice. Mika's journey is about choosing softness as strength and reclaiming worth and creating beauty from everything that once tried to break her. Stay close. This conversation matters. Hello, Mika.
Hi, Cammie.
How
I love that intro. I'm good. I'm good.
Thank you. I was only telling the truth, and you know that.
I appreciate that.
So, Mika, how are you showing up today, emotionally?
You broke up just a little bit. What was the question again?
I said, how are you showing up today, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally?
I'm showing up as me, as Mika, and because for a long time I didn't. For a long time, I kind of shaped myself to fit molds or to allow myself to hide in different groups, like I could shapeshift, if you will. So, but today, I'm showing up as myself, and it changes day by day, depending on how I'm feeling, but it's always me. It's never a mask or someone else.
I love that. Now, what made you decide to take part in the Dear Black Woman Anthology project?
When I was approached by you, I thought you made a mistake. So I remember I was sitting in the meeting. I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. I think maybe Cammie just wanted me to come and listen. You was like, no, I don't make mistakes like that. I want you to tell your story. And I never even considered it until then. And I was like, well, why not? Especially at this point in my life where I've already healed things with my mom. We've had our tough conversations already. So timing just lined up perfectly. You came around at a time where I was, in the middle of my healing journey. I felt like it was time to, share my voice and be heard. And
it was a divine appointment.
Here. It was a divine appointment. Yeah.
It was a divine appointment. Because I said, listen, ever since you've met me, whenever I say anything, I always say, I'm not in charge here. I'm just a passenger on this bus.
You're just a passenger on the bus.
Yeah.
Day one.
Open the door for people and say, come on, get on the bus. Yeah. I wake up every morning and I say, what we doing today, God?
Right.
Yeah.
And the fact that it happened at this time of my life, I wouldn't have been ready even a year ago. It just never would have happened. So,
but that's why I said let's be honest. You talk about me pushing you outside of your boundaries, outside of your comfort zone, outside of all of those things. But look at how you are shining when you step outside of that. Look at how you're shining. Look at how you're shining on the podcast. Look at how you're shining in business. Look at how you're just you literally took a step out of my book the other day and created an ebook in one day. I felt like a proud mother sitting right. I was gleaming so hard. I was like, oh my gosh, she's doing it.
Yeah.
I was like, she's flying. She's flying, y'all. She's flying.
I know. I'm trying really hard. And you know what?
No,
I'm not even trying really hard. Things are just kind of flowing.
Yeah. Let me say this. There's no such thing as trying. And I need people to understand that. Either you do or you don't. So if it's instead of saying I'm trying, say I'm attempting to make this happen.
Yes.
It's not that you're trying, you're actually doing it.
I'm doing it.
So you're no longer trying, you're implementing, you're doing it. That's what you're doing.
You know
So,
what though, Cammie? I always have a hard, and this is the part that I'm still healing from, even at this big age, is complimenting myself and big upping my accomplishments. And I think because, especially I think in the Black communities too, as women, we're taught to be humble. And
mhm.
times we're too humble where we don't allow ourselves to shine because we're afraid of coming across as braggy or
Or arrogant or all of
arrogant.
those. So here's the
Yeah.
thing. Here's the Black women, and on the podcast a few seasons back we talked about this. We talked about all of the different stereotypes that are oppressed upon Black women, which keep us oppressed in so many ways. So
Yeah.
in this year, and with my book Dear Black Woman, one of the main chapters in that book is something that you're hearing be repeated over and over again throughout this year or throughout this era, is celebrate your wins.
Yeah.
And
Girl,
that's
sorry, hot
important.
flash.
Girl, I know the fan. Listen, the fan is fanning over here. Okay, why you think this?
Oh, I don't know why they put my fan here.
Why you think this hat up off this head right now?
Okay,
Okay,
my goodness. I
listen,
just saw myself glistening. I'm like, and I can feel it, like I'm
listen.
being
That
slid into
that
an
hair
oven.
is up off that neck. That fan is fanning. I'm good. And I
Yes.
was like, I said, look, I'm like, not today, Satan. Not in the middle of
Okay.
this.
It just crops up out of nowhere. I'm sorry.
No, but just think about that. That's what you've been hearing so much. Celebrate your
Yeah.
wins, celebrate the good things. And the reason why is because we've been taught that no matter whether it's good or bad, keep our head down and keep it pushing.
Yeah.
Don't let them see you happy, or don't let them see you sad. But look, let me show you something. The reason why they say don't let them see you happy is look at how they're reacting to our rest and our joy.
Right? They don't like that. How come you're not out here with us? How come you're not doing this? Da 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 da.
And then you got
Never
the other.
mind the years that we've done it.
You got these people over here talk about, oh, y'all just want to dance and y'all just want to do this and y'all just want to do that. Y'all don't want to do nothing. Oh, okay. I mean, you know, hey,
All right.
whatever.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah,
take that.
we gonna fan dance, but watch y'all try to fan dance with us.
Oh, they're already trying.
I know that. That's why
They
I said,
always, yeah.
yeah. We can't have nothing. And then you get mad when we got something and don't want to include you. So that's where that comes from. Don't let them
Yeah.
see you happy. Don't let them see you sad. Reduce your anger, reduce your happiness. Don't be braggadocious, because if you're too braggadocious, they gonna think that you're trying to be bigger than them. You know? Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
though, you can't be bigger than the game. You can't be bigger than the opportunity. You remember those things. Those are things that were meant to keep people oppressed.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And also to, like, humble, they'll bring, God into it. God don't like a bragger. It's like, you don't want to get too big, God can take it away. It's like
Bragging is a sin.
everything's a sin.
Everything. Everything.
Can't let everything. So
And literally everything is a sin if you
it
go to the
is. So it's like
yeah.
pick your sin and do the
Pick
best you
your sin,
can.
pick your sin and keep it moving, okay?
Keep it moving.
Pick your cluster of sin.
Pick your cluster sins. I do the best I can every day to be the best
Yeah,
person I can. That's all I can do.
that's
I'm
all I
gonna
can
sin
do.
in the interim. I'm gonna sin as I do it.
So, because
I'm good with that.
even to somebody cutting my hair is a sin, okay? So let's get back on this. How did you
Yes.
approach writing a letter to your younger self? Was it natural, or did it take some emotional work to begin?
It took a bit of emotional work. I had to like sit down and I actually sat still and remembered what it was like to be in little Mika's body. I kind of
Mhm.
had to re-inhabit the little girl and kind of like walked through some major instances that were like major points in time for me where I felt a certain way, or because I have like my mind works in like events. like I have these, I don't remember a whole lot, but I remember events. So I kind of had to go back there, and it brought some things up, because your mind doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination. So my body felt all those things that little Mika felt, having to be quiet, not really having a voice or an opinion, um, not really having the nurturing that I craved so much from my mom. But now as an adult, I kind of, I understand my mom better. I understand that, she did her best. But this is what I learned. My mother did the best she could because of also how she was raised. And, it goes back
Absolutely.
generations. But you can know that and still understand that while she did her best, it wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
It
And
wasn't good enough.
yeah.
Yeah, and there are consequences
Yeah.
as a result, so I have forgiven my mom. We have talked that through, but I still know that there was a lacking, especially in the nurturing, but she just didn't have it to give.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. What's so funny about what you're saying is I often ask myself, was that a generational thing? Because
Mm-hmm.
you and I are in the same generation, and my mom had some of the same similar type of behaviors or similar type of ways of being. And it wasn't until recently where we were sitting for a Mother's Day function, and I was talking to my mom, my aunt, and my grandmothers, and it was a matter of fact, it was two of my aunts. My grandmother's oldest two children, well, my grandmother's oldest three daughters were there. My mom, two of my aunts, and my grandmother, and myself. And I was talking to my aunts and my mom about going through menopause, which I'm currently going through. And I was like, yo, why didn't you all tell us about this, that, and the third? And why didn't you pass down information? Why didn't you say this? Pass down different things that we could utilize, And my mom looked at me, and she looked at her mother, and she said, it's her fault. She didn't even tell us about our periods.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, well, that much I did know. Yeah.
That right there, that made me realize so much. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. They were operating off of very little information, and they were like, learning as they go. And mind you, my mom was 17 when she had me too. So she was also a kid raising a kid after raising all of her siblings. So she was just,
She had already been parentified and was burnt out.
She was mothered out.
Yeah, she was mothered out.
7 siblings. Yeah, she was mothered out.
So what did healing, well, let's first talk about, you speak to a time when silence felt safer than speaking. Can you describe what that silence felt like for you?
It's like you're screaming on the inside. You know what you want to say. You know how you feel. And just being muffled, like it's not safe to speak your mind. So you stay silent. And that followed me into my adulthood. Like it took me, probably until my late 30s, early 40s, until I did start speaking my mind. Being silent, like you said, was safety for myself. It meant that I wouldn't be reprimanded. It meant that I wouldn't be made to feel not so smart. It kept me in this, the perfect child mode. Like, I got to be quiet. I got to be good. I got to make sure people like me, all those
Children
things.
should be seen and not heard.
Yeah. Yeah. And I grew up to be a major people pleaser in my life. And there's still, I'm not 100% healed. None of us are or ever will be, but it's just something when I notice it in myself, when I notice I'm doing it, I'm now aware, where I didn't have that awareness before. Now I'm very aware. And when I find myself back into that mode, silencing myself or trying to appease someone, and kind of blocking myself in the process, I'm more aware, and I'll speak. I'm like, okay, this is not how you're operating anymore. And I'll make the shift in real time. And I can feel myself making the shift.
I'm so proud of you. So proud of
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Now, what message do you think young Mika needed to hear the most that she wasn't given?
That she's worthy, that she has a voice, that she is worthy just because she exists, and she doesn't have to, be productive or get the good grades or be perfect to be loved.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
there's a line in your letter that says you were a child trying to make sense of adult things. Can you talk about what that reality looked like for you?
It was me as a child seeing things and understanding things that I wasn't supposed to see or understand. And that includes, domestic abuse. My mom went through some things. The choices that were made, in partners that she chose.
Right.
Even me being responsible for my brother at a very young age and having to make sure he was good. We started staying home by ourselves. My mom got a job and she worked there for 30 years. She was working 11 to 7 at night. And me and my brother started staying home by ourselves. I was 7 and he was 4. Wow. So overnight with the responsibility, make sure you stay in bed, don't open the door. That was scary as a kid. Eventually I got used to it, but those were very advanced responsibilities.
Girl, you talking about 7.
Oh, 7. My brother was 4. Yeah.
You have met my 8-year-old.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
Oh my God.
There's no way. I always said that I feel like I have always been an adult. I feel like that I've always been responsible. Just, mature. I had to.
So your mother passed down a generational parentification of the oldest child.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Even though I know that wasn't her goal. We had a conversation the other day where we were talking and she was talking about her childhood because I was talking to her about coming on the podcast to talk. And she was like, after helping to raise 7 siblings, I never wanted to do that to you and your brother. I wanted you to be able to be free to go and do things and stuff like that. I'm like, she doesn't realize,
that's what she did.
She did. There were plenty of things I couldn't do because I had to stay home with my brother,
And so that's why I said that. I was like, your mother, that's a generational thing. And it's so funny how we can literally have those generational quote unquote curses or generational behaviors and not even be conscious of it.
Yeah, she was completely unconscious of it. It's just the way things were. And like I said, I don't think she did it purposefully. She did it out of necessity. She didn't have much of I guess we did have a choice because we were going to my grandma's at first, but she got sick of driving us across town, then going back to work, then picking us up across town, then coming home, getting us ready for school, taking us. Yeah. So yeah, we just.
It was out of necessity. Yeah, it was making her day, her life easier,
a little easier.
Because she needed, no disrespect, but she needed rest. She was working 11 to 7, so that was taking hours out of her rest, and she was probably tired, getting off in the morning, having to drive home, get you all ready. Your grandmother, so. You have to look at the support system too. She was parentified by her mother to the fact that didn't even really help her with you all because her mom didn't even help you guys get dressed in the morning to go to school.
Right.
Which is if she could take that labor off of her, maybe your mother would have left you all over. With
I didn't even think about that. Bring the school clothes, pack the bag, bring everything over, be ready for school and this. Yeah. Shoulda, woulda.
Yeah, I'm telling you, when we go through this process of healing, you start to really, especially as a mother, you look back at certain things and you start to really see things and understand things and say, okay, you know what? like me, I give my mom grace a lot right now because as a mom, I look at all the mistakes and things that I've made and I say,
Yeah.
okay, yes, this could have been prevented, but a lot of this stuff happened out of necessity. I, like your mother, was a very young mom. I had my son right out of high school. So I didn't know,
Yeah.
listen,
Yeah.
I keep it a buck with you. I was raised by my dad. When my dad found out I was pregnant at my 8th month, he dropped me off at my mama's house and said, I can't teach you how to be a mama. And
Yeah.
I had never lived with my mother for years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a transition that would have been, I guess, huh?
Yeah. So, you look at those things and you look at the mistakes that you make, and as we grow and as we heal, like you said, you've already given your mom grace. You all have already healed that relationship. You all have already had an understanding to the point that your mom's coming on your podcast to talk about generational healing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited about that. I did not think she was going to say yes, but she
I'm
did, like without
excited about
hesitation.
that.
Yeah.
What did
Yeah,
healing begin to look like for you? Not the polished version, but the real start. What did that look like?
I feel like I went through all the things. I didn't know it at the time, but I was walking around angry. Like when it finally peaked, I was angry. I was angry at my mother, and she felt it. I snapped at her a lot. I remember one instance, she told me my daughter came to visit from Ohio, and my mom lived way out in Douglasville. And I said something like, well, if you want to see Ashley, you just need to come to Midtown because I'm not driving all the way out there to, and my mom was like, okay, I'll come and see her. But it was like I was just snapping and just like, almost like I'm an adult now and you don't get to silence me. So I'm going to tell you how I feel. But it was not in a respectful way. But I noticed that anger, and I didn't want to feel that way anymore. And I didn't want to be mad at my mom anymore. I wanted to heal. I wanted to be better, and I wanted to put all the stuff to rest. I wanted to be able to just say everything I need to say and then kind of like, let it go. Because I did the same thing with my dad. I don't know why it was easier to talk to my dad, but I talked to my dad years ago, back in 2007, 2008. I just called him up. I'm like, hey, we need to have this conversation. We had it. We kind of like, decided we were starting anew and starting to walk a new path, and our relationship changed. It took a while longer. I think because I lived with my mom, and I think because I craved the relationship with my mom a little bit more. And maybe that's why it was so much more emotional, so tough for me. Because I also, in having the conversation, didn't want to hurt her. Even though I was hurt, I didn't want to hurt her by telling the truth. But the truth is the truth.
Yeah.
It hurts sometimes. So, girl, you got me. I'm up here watering up. I knew it.
I didn't mean to. I got another question for you. So maybe this will bring you a little bit of joy. You mentioned in your story talking about dancing in the kitchen with your aunties and feeling sacred through your grandmother's love. What role did those women play in your becoming?
They were the mothering piece that I they were my mothers. And I would say, especially my dad's mom, my grandma Rose, I lost her in 2015. That was my girl. She loved on me something fierce. I was spoiled. I got everything I wanted, stuff that I didn't know that I wanted. She loved me to no end. I miss her every single day. But I do not believe for one second that I'd be the person that I am today without them. My Aunt Bridget is my mom's younger sister. She's the type of person that, when you have good news, you call her first because she's going to be hyped with you. Yeah. She's going to pump you up, and she's going to love on you, and she's going to be there with me. And we're only 8-9 years apart. My mom was the oldest, so she had me at 17. Like my aunts and uncles, like we're all kind of like in the same age range. So yeah, they were my anchor. They were my safe place. They were my soft place. And And I think I learned how to nurture my daughter because I mimicked how they nurtured me.
I love that. Now, how did cultural or family expectations sort of affect how you process or internalize pain?
Well, I mean, we didn't talk about that stuff. Culturally, Black folks, you kept things to yourself. You didn't talk about things outside the family, what
Yeah.
happens in this house stays in this house. So even for a long time, well into my adulthood, I didn't even talk to my aunties and my grandmothers about how I was feeling at home because you just didn't talk about what happened outside the home. So my aunt especially was like, she was shocked. She had no idea, that me and my brother, kind of had these experiences with my mom, because my mom showed up in a different way for them than her children who were there, in the house 24/7. So you just learn to lock it away and keep it pushing. And that's where, stress comes from. That's where anxiety comes from. That's where, depression comes from, all those things, burnout. So,
All of them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What was one lie you actually had to unlearn about your worth?
That I didn't need to keep achieving things to be worthy. I was a very good student, and I would say, things came to me easily and I was smart, but the reason that I wanted to achieve things, the reason I wanted the good grades was because that's when I got accolades. Okay. That's when my mom was proud of me. That's when my mom would, brag on me and, show me off. And that's when I felt the most worthy. So I did grow up thinking that I had to perform to be worthy. And then that follows you into your, career, being, feeling like you're worthy in your career. And now it's not my mom that I want, the accolades from, it's my boss and it's this. So yeah.
It follows you into relationships, validation. That's what it is. You want the validation.
And I would perform. I was buying stuff for me, girl.
I got you, boo.
I got you. Yes. It was, I did some things in my youth that the me today is like, girl.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
I got you. I understand. Listen, how has your healing shifted how you relate to other Black women?
I see them. Even in women that I don't necessarily vibe with, I understand that everything comes from every emotion, every action, behavior comes from somewhere, and it's usually stemmed from some sort of pain. Absolutely. So I try not to, I attempt to not take anything personally anymore. It doesn't mean that I can't remove myself from you and, be over here, but I see you. I recognize that there is pain and there's like stuff in your past that, helped to create who you are today. So that's been like a big old light that went on. I see people now, and I don't judge.
Okay. Now, how has your relationship with your inner child sort of changed since writing this letter?
I do things to make her happy. I do things to please my inner child. And I realized that I had started doing that like last summer and didn't realize that's what I was doing. But writing the letter, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing these things to help kind of like make her happy, to please her, to give her joy. Like little things like dancing in the rain. I love being outside in the rain. And I had an aunt that used to let us go outside at night in the rain, me and my brother and my cousins just out there just having a ball. And I'm like, how come I can go out in the rain if I want to and just have ball.
Let me
it's
tell you,
so much fun.
We keep talking about all these events that we're doing. We should have a rain park.
I would love it. And I actually I scheduled an Instagram post for today at noon, and I recorded it last year. And I didn't want to share it because I was in like my little sports bra, my leggings and my belly. I'm looking all chubby, but I was like, you know what? But my sister had recorded it, and I was scared to share it because, but I'm like, I'm going to post it because it's joy. And it was right after the fire in my condo.
That would be, you know what? We live in Atlanta and this is rainy season. Like that would be to have those are ritualistic type things.
Yeah, I would love to play in the rain. I would love to do my bowls
meet
in the
the
rain
park with the bowls in the rain and just have a ball.
Just have a ball. Have a ball. But little things like that.
Where's my pen?
Write it down.
Write it down. Look, watch this. Don't tell me to write it down because tomorrow you'll have.
I know. And it's like, who's brave enough to allow their inner child to come play?
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Oh, Mika, I absolutely love that. That's a perfect way to promote the book as well.
I wanted to do an adult field day. I had wrote it all out in my notes because I loved field day in elementary school.
That, Mika.
Kickball.
Listen, let me say this. The weekend of the book release, we should do an entire weekend of events. So maybe plan an adult field day. Since we're doing the 100 women and the final event will be the 100 women in black. How about that?
I love that. Play freeze tag, dodgeball, like all because
we're writing to our inner child.
Yes,
so come out and let your inner
play.
Yes, come out and play with us. Yes,
come out and play with us. Absolutely.
I love that. Oh my God.
Yeah. So I consult her a lot more. I'm like, does this feel fun? Does this feel, is this something little Mika would love to do?
I love that. I love it. Now, what was the most emotionally challenging part about writing this letter? And what was the most freeing part?
The challenging part was just feeling those emotions again, as if things had just happened. Like those emotions were real. There were tears. There were, moments of, I wish I could have, I wish I would have. So some like regrets. But what was freeing was I was finally allowing her to speak. I was giving her a voice that she never had. And it was like my shoulders, relaxed. My breathing became, steady. And I'm like, I'm here. I did it. I got it all out. She has a voice. I don't have to be afraid of anything or anyone anymore. There are no consequences for me freeing myself. It's all positive stuff. It's all things that I need. There are zero bad consequences to speaking. Yeah.
Now, when did you realize that speaking your truth could be an act of freedom and not just exposure?
When I realized, after I wrote it, the first thing I thought was, my family's going to read this. My mom's going to read it. And then I had to go through the process of it's my truth, and people are free to feel any way they feel about it, but it's not going to change. My point of view is not going to change, what I went through. And that helped relieve a lot of the pressure. It's like, it is what it is. It's out there, and take from it what you will. Oh, well.
I love that. Now, how do you protect yourself now? The heal parts of yourself. How do you now protect that part of you?
I'm not I used to be like a gabber. I would tell people my business or whatever. I'm very selective in who I talk to now. I have safe spaces to do that. I've got my core friend group that I'm able to talk to. My best friend, who is also my sister. She's like my diary, my journal. Therapy. I've been in therapy now for 5 years. I think I'm coming up on my 6th year. That's helped tremendously. But yeah, I'm just more selective on who I share my energy with and who I share my private thoughts with.
Okay. Now,
I'm
in
not
what
sure if I
way?
answered that question.
You did. You did.
Okay.
You did.
Sometimes I start talking and I forget the question.
I get it. In what ways has your softness become a source of power for you?
That I get to hold space for people now. That being soft is now my superpower because it allows people to feel safe with me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I used to think that I had to be, tough and hard and um, put up these walls, but in allowing those walls to crumble, I'm allowing women like me, people that are surviving but want to thrive, um, people who are struggling and don't have a place to go. People, I've met so many women in the course of my work over the last year, strangers that in my presence will fall asleep. Especially Black folks, they ain't falling asleep if they don't feel safe. Fall asleep
Well,
in my presence.
you
You
talking about
know,
when you wait, watch this. You talking about when you pull out them sound bowls.
when I put up those sound bowls,
Listen, boo, let me tell
it's
you
all
something.
done.
Them sound bowls are hypnotizing, okay? Like
They
the
are.
water, the one thing that you got that sound like the water in the ocean.
Yeah.
Oh my,
Mm-hmm.
Mika, I could lay there all day and all night. I think I would fall asleep. Listen,
But it's
y'all.
the person too, because I've been in a sound bath where I just didn't feel it's not just the instruments,
You
it's
know
the
what?
energy
You're
behind the
right.
instruments.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely
It's
right
the
because
energy.
spaces where I did not, you know, being in this community, in the wellness community, I do go to a lot of yoga retreats and a lot of spaces where sound baths are in place. And there have been
Mm-hmm.
spaces where I have gone and not felt safe enough. I lay there and relax, but you know how
Yeah.
we lay there like this.
Yeah. You're like, yeah. It sounds good, it feels good, but there's something about it I cannot completely
Yeah, you,
relax.
you
So
laying
I
there
think
with one eye
yeah.
open, looking, with your head on a swivel, still
Right.
like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Especially if it's in spaces that are,
culturally unfriendly.
yes. So it really depends. It really depends. But yeah, and strangers crying and telling me their stories, that is definitely a superpower. And I love creating those spaces for us. Yeah.
Love that. Now, what does trust in yourself look like today compared to 5 years ago?
Oh my gosh. I feel like I've been through a complete metamorphosis over the last 5 years. I know 5 years ago, that version of me and this version of me would
Mm-hmm.
never allow the same things, would never allow the same people in my space. Um, whew, I like where I am right now. I prefer this version of me. Um, I love the growth that I'm seeing in myself, especially when I make a decision for myself that is nurturing to me. I just get proud. I just get so proud. And I'll call my auntie. I'm like, guess what I did today? I chose myself. I didn't abandon myself and da. And I stood my ground. And yeah, I feel like I'm growing up all over again. It's like
Listen,
I get this.
listen, friend, from a friend perspective, okay, like, oh my God.
Yeah,
I
I
just be
do.
so proud of you. I was like,
Thank
okay,
you.
Mika, go. I'll be over here. Go, Mika, go. Go, Mika, go.
But I do. I just feel like I've had this complete rebirth. And this chapter of my life, I'm just so excited about the things that are happening to me and for me, and, the things that I get to do, things that I'm doing that I would have been afraid to do even last year. So I told you I was going to need this. She was like, girl, I ain't going to ask you nothing that's going to cause tears. Like, you listen. It don't take
Look,
much.
but you know what? It's okay. Those are healing tears. Let's just be completely honest. Those are not sad tears. What those
No.
are tears of reflection, tears of joy because of how far you've come and the things that you've accomplished. Like let's keep it a buck. We could be with what we've all been through. We could be somewhere laying in a bed, curled up, crying day and night. Okay.
Yeah.
But we're not. We're not. We're not. We're out here doing our best to not only heal ourselves and be the best version of ourselves for others and show up for others, but we are actually out here trying to change the perspective and change the scope on what it looks like for Black women across the globe. So this is not, you could be somewhere throwing yourself a pity party, but you're not. You're somewhere talking about what your healing journey looked like so that you can pass those steps and those modalities and those techniques on to your sister and say, hey, I've been where you've been. I walked in these shoes. Now, I get it. Ours may not have been the same, but it may be a little different. But this is what I can offer you to help.
Yeah. And I'm doing it for my daughter, too. Absolutely. I want her to see what it looks like, to heal. I want her to see her mother doing the work. And I want her to take that into her role now as a mother. And she's amazing. I love watching her mother. I love watching her pour her love onto those babies the way I poured my love onto her. And I did so. I always feel like when you're growing up, in whatever circumstances you're in, you'll either decide that this is the way things are and you perpetuate whatever that is, or you decide I want something different and you'll go the opposite way. And I just knew what I wanted as a child, so I poured all that into mine. And my daughter knew she was loved. I made sure I instilled confidence in her. I was telling somebody the other day, I had her too confident. She was like 4 or 5 years old. And somebody came up and said, like, you're so cute. You're so pretty. She's like, I know. And I was like, baby, you got to say thank you. You can't say I know. But I told her she was beautiful all the time because I didn't feel beautiful as a kid. I always thought I looked like a boy and I was too skinny and I was just not pretty. And it's still, sometimes I still study myself in the mirror and pick it apart. But I'm like, girl, what are you doing? That's not who you are now.
The funny part about that is you thought you were too skinny and I thought I was too fat. I thought I was fat until Sir Mix-a-Lot came out with that song, Baby Got Back. And I was in the 6th grade going into the 7th grade then. So you know what I look like. You know what my shape looks like. I've had this shape my entire life. Yeah. Girl. So when initially boys used to pick on me and call me fat and this, that, and the third, but when that song came out,
all of a sudden they looked at you different. Okay. Yeah, I was the opposite. I had an auntie that called me Bones. Boys talked about that I was from Ethiopia or that, I wasn't.
I got one for you. I'm 40. I'll be 45 to this year. Guess what? My father is the only person who still calls me this. Guess what my father's nickname is for me? Me.
So you were meat and I was Bones?
Yeah.
How are we? You were meat and I was Bones. Wow.
Yep.
Isn't that something?
To this day, like you can ask everybody, be like, why he call you that? And I'm like, cause when I was a little girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come here, Bones. I'm like, Lord. Twig Newton, because my last name's Newton. Twig Newton.
Oh my God, Mika, I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh.
Kids are cool.
It just came out of nowhere, Mika. Wait. Oh my God.
Twig Newton.
Kids are horrible, okay?
They're horrible. Horrible.
Listen, how did co-creating with God become part of your healing journey?
Oh my gosh. It didn't become, he's always been there. I didn't always listen. I didn't always invite him in when I should have, but he's always been a part of this journey. He's always been a part of my life. I've always been a prayer, even as a child, I just always prayed. And through my life, I've been searching for him in different ways, studying Buddhism, studying sound healing, going to different churches, trying different, like just reading up on as much as I can. And what I have found that God is God is God
It's
in all
God.
those
It's
names.
God.
He's
It's
he's
God.
he's called different names by different people, but
They
he
put
is
them
the
in different
same God.
books. They
But
do,
they
yeah.
put him in different boxes.
But
They
it's
give
the
him different
same God.
rules. It's the
It's the
same God.
same God. Yeah.
The
It's the
principles
same
are
God.
all the same.
Yep.
The teachings of Buddha very closely are related to the teachings of Jesus. And Jesus was a teacher, just like Buddha was a
Beautiful.
teacher.
It's crazy that you say that, because you and I have so many similarities and so many likeness. Because remember, even when we were talking about the event that we're hosting, the reset, the reason why we did all of that, and I told you, I said, "Oh, Mika, I got a book that I wrote."
Yeah,
it's a devotional, and it's based on every religion you can think of. Because what I was proving was, in every religion, the message is the same. Love is love. Kindness is kindness. Yeah. Humanity is humanity.
Treat your neighbors as yourself. Yes. It's about humanity at the end of the day.
Yep. In my book, the book is called 30 Days of Spiritual Growth. I pull from the Torah, from the Quran, from the Bible, from the Bhagavad Gita. I pull from the Tao. I pull from normal everyday quotes. So I pull from every, as a matter of fact, when I did my research, I researched the top 10 religions in the world. And I did it. And that's what I based this on, because I wanted to prove to people that God is God is God. And it doesn't matter, and I try to often tell people this, one of my favorite things is marketing and branding. I tell people God is the ultimate marketer. See, he gave us free will for a reason. Look at religion as if it was a different product that got to the same purpose. That's a Coke. That's a RC Cola. That's a Pepsi.
Yeah. All cola, all gonna give you a caffeine or that kick that you need. They all basically, to me, they taste the same. All brown, all bubbly,
but
carbonated.
See, they're all packaged differently. They're all marketed differently. They are all. You get where I'm going with this?
And they're trying to tell you that they're different, or one is better than the other. One is better than the other.
But ultimately, they are all the same.
The same. And that I've always grown up with a respect of other people's viewpoints and their cultural differences, their religious differences. Because for me, books the books are a book of rules, if you will. But I'm like, and that's why I don't subscribe to anything in particular. I am a follower of God. I love God.
Yeah.
I am of him. I am made in his image, and I'm starting to believe that now. I didn't always believe that, but yeah.
She is me and I am her. God is within me. And that is who it will always be. Okay.
Yeah. And I invite God into every aspect of my life.
Yes.
Even the small things, little things. God, I can't find my keys. God, can you help me? Look, he cares about everything. Everything. And I thank him for everything, like the rain or the grass or the trees. Like I have a tree outside my balcony that I talk to. It is my tree.
Let me say this. I tell people you have to find gratitude even in those dark moments, because see, what you have to understand is there's a lesson in those hard times. So you need to be grateful for the lesson, and you have to be grateful that God allowed you to make it through the lesson so that you learn the lesson and where you are now on the other side of that lesson.
Yeah, for sure. And that the other side of my lesson completely changed my life and my career trajectory. I was like, as the person I was, I could no longer be in the spaces I was in. And as much as, I enjoyed the company I worked for, I was done with corporate. I just couldn't.
Let me tell you something about Black women that I've noticed. And this is in relation to God. God gives us the signs when we should walk away from a situation, but we never do. It's not until He knocks
Yeah.
us down and we can't walk,
Uh-huh.
we can't move, we
Yeah.
can't talk, we can't do nothing that we recognize that we should have never been in that space in the first
Mm-hmm.
place. And
Yeah.
God tried to tell us many, 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 many,
Yeah.
many, 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 many times.
My
That
therapist even reminded me, she was like, when I told her that I was leaving, and I was so scared to tell my therapist, I thought she was gonna think that I was like crazy and it was part of the depression. And she was like, Mika, you've been talking about this for 2 years now. She was
but
like,
that's
I'm
not
not
yeah.
surprised.
That's my point. Like
Yeah.
we see the signs, but as Black women, what do? Because we've been taught, we've been
Mm-hmm.
conditioned to stick it out,
And they
go through
make it
the
so
hard times.
comfortable, the
Yeah.
all the benefits and the regular paycheck I do miss. But I'm figuring it out. And I
Let me
didn't
say
want those things
this.
to hold me hostage.
Here's the thing. You put as much into your own business as you put into someone else. See, that's the problem. A lot of
Yeah.
people think business ownership is you get to lay up and not do anything. You forgot
Mm-mm.
that when you go work for somebody else's company, you don't lay up and not do anything. So if you
Right.
invest in much of yourself as you invested into someone else's company, you will be just as successful, because don't forget, you made someone else successful.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I'm doing my best. I mean, I'm new in this field. I've been in, it was so funny to go from, corporate retail to wellness, but it was always something that I was interested in. I've always been a part of this world in a self-care sort of
Mm-hmm.
way. It was part of my practice. And it just felt natural to make this transition. It makes my heart beat. It feels purposeful.
It's
It just
freedom.
makes me feel good. It is.
It's freedom.
It's
Now, let me
it is.
ask you this. That's funny. What does liberation mean to you? Not in theory, but in your everyday life. What does that mean to you?
That I am co-steering my life with God. I get to wake up and decide what kind of day I'm going to have. No one else is dictating that. I don't have to worry about other people's energy, changing how I move in my day. Um, it feels good knowing that I'm free to live my entire truth. It's been freeing and liberating to be seen. I've always kind of like hid in the corner, out of the spotlight. I'm a behind the scenes girl. And even in my roles, in retail, I've always chose positions that were kind of like back end. I started out in merchandising, which is very high profile. You're in front of people, they get all the hoopla. I was uncomfortable in those roles, so I chose product development and sourcing. I'm the person getting everything done for you in the back, but I did it well. So it's been liberating to show myself, to speak to people, and to even growing my social media. That's been liberating. I've always been scared to, get on there and do videos and stuff like that. So it's the little things, but it means a lot to me.
Now, if young Mika could hear your voice today, what would you want her to remember the most?
That you're loved and you're worthy and you're valuable just because you exist in this world. That God chose you to be born for a reason. And it wasn't to perform and to make other people happy. It was to find your happiness and your joy so that you can pour into other people.
What do you want other Black women who are still silent to know right now?
There's only one you. There's only one you. Your voice is unique. Your personality is unique. Your gifts and talents are unique, and the world needs them. The world needs to see who you are and what you stand for. And the world is a better place and will become a better place if you allow yourself to be seen.
And finally, This is my last question, Mika. You survived. You
I
survived.
survived.
You survived. What's next in your healing, your voice and your vision? What's next for Mika?
Continuing on the path that I am, being aware of myself, my body, what feels good, what doesn't, growing my business and touching as many people as I can. I always said that, if I could have my bills paid another way, I would do my work for free. And that would be a goal. I would love to get into a position where I don't have to charge people for my work, because it feels God led. And I just want to help people and pour into people as many as I can.
I feel you on that, because that's actually one of my goals with the magazine, is to be able to provide the magazine for free.
Free, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would love to be able to do that.
Like if I
tried to make it happen at the casinos last weekend or a couple weeks ago.
Okay, listen, I be trying to do that too. Okay. I'm thinking about getting back out there, getting on the stage, shaking a little tail, for the hand now.
You got it. Yeah. They'd be looking at me throwing coins, girl. So
I might, I might go out there for a couple of nights and do my thing. Flip up on that
strange for some change.
Do something a little strange for a little change. But no, because listen, I told somebody that the other day. I was like, I'm really thinking about getting back into dancing, into burlesque, because I am I need the income. Yeah. Supporting this movement, supporting this organization, and wanting to do the things that I want to do for women, especially in the climate of what's going on in our society. Wanting to build that investment fund where we provide grants. Doing all of those things take money.
Yeah.
And everything I make with Dear Black Woman, I reinvest back into Dear Black Woman. And how many projects. Look, you know how much I got going on.
Energizer Bunny over here. Yeah, a lot. A lot.
But Mika, I just want to say thank you so much for, first of all, being a part of the Dear Black Woman Anthology project. And this is more than just a book, you guys. This is an entire project. The book is just the first phase. These women are telling you their stories, but very soon you're going to see them on stage also speaking life into you and giving you their stories right on from that stage. So yes, buy the book box, buy the book, support the women, but also be prepared to see them live and in person as well. Okay?
That's going to be very interesting.
That sounds like another one of those I'm nervous statements.
Okay. Bring my box of tissues too.
Okay. All right, you guys. Again, this has been another episode of the Dear Black Woman podcast. Mika, once again, thank you for reminding us that silence can keep us safe, but speaking our truth sets us free. Your voice is clear, powerful, and necessary. To those listening, if you've been carrying unspoken pain, hear this. You are not too much. You were never too sensitive, and you were never unworthy. Follow the Dear Black Woman podcast wherever you listen to your favorite podcast episodes, and share this episode with someone whose healing begins with hearing someone else's truth. Until next time, be gentle with your story and be bold with your voice. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.